So everybody's been talking about Shedeur Sanders and criticizing him, picking him apart, really holding him to a standard that no other quarterback um, was held to. And to be honest, there's no other way to see it but as a personal attack. That's kind of what it feels like because no other quarterback is being held to the same standard that he's being held to. He essentially has to be flawless because if he has any mistakes, see, we should get rid of him. He could do something great. Oh, he's good at, flashy plays and splash plays and this and that, but he doesn't know what he's looking at. It's like, come on, he's fresh out of college. He still needs to learn. I started thinking about his first seven starts. In his first seven starts, he had 7 touchdowns, 10 assists. But I started thinking about that. He was in that game with uh, no reps with the team. That means as a quarterback, he doesn't know his receivers. He doesn't know the receivers that he's throwing to. He's never really thrown to them. He doesn't know. There's no chemistry there. There's no game plan for him. The game plan was for Dylan Gabriel. Um, Essentially, no preparation for this game. He was just thrown in, right? Um, and then I started thinking about some other quarterbacks who were drafted in the top rounds who had game plans for them, who had reps with the first team, who had preparation and all those things, right? Because of where they were drafted. And for example, Josh Allen, who everybody loves now, right? In his first seven starts, he had 5 touchdowns, seven interceptions. That's comparable, right? In who else? Peyton Manning, who everybody looks at, we know now he's a legendary quarterback. Well, in his first seven starts, he had 9 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. The same for Eli Manning, Troy Aikman, Drew Brees. Uh, the list really goes on of quarterbacks who stunk it up in their first seven starts. And so, what am I saying here? He's being held to a standard that nobody else is held to. And that's what's making it come off as personal. That's what's making it come off as a conspiracy, as if they're coming together to tear this young man down. That's what's making it come off that way because he's not getting a fair shot. Yeah, they might have split the reps in this camp and with the preseason and all those things, but everybody in the city that he plays in has been tearing him down. I'm talking about the media who should be encouraging him. And I'm not talking about outside media. I'm talking about Browns media for the team he plays for. Nobody has accepted him. Nobody has said, hey, man, let's get behind this young guy and see what he has. Nobody has tried to motivate. Nobody, and literally everybody has taken the opportunity because of how big his name is, has taken the opportunity to use his name to make money, but also tear him down, right? And so he'll have a good day where he's throwing bombs, he's dropping the ball in a bucket, and everybody looks at that and says, "Oh yeah, he's good at the splash plays," but essentially calling him dumb at everything else. Essentially saying that, but he doesn't understand the game. He doesn't know how to slide protection. He doesn't know how to do this. He doesn't know. And it's like, come on, man. He's fresh out of college. He's fresh out of college. And then you have legendary quarterbacks who had preparation still not be able to flow. And I'm not saying every quarterback was that way. I think Patrick Mahomes came straight out of high school and killed it. So um, I'm not saying every quarterback is that way, but what I am saying though is you shouldn't judge somebody based on their first seven starts. You just shouldn't, unless you have an ulterior motive. Um, and I want to, when I said there's something bigger here, that is what the bigger is for me. I want to encourage y'all with that. Don't allow people to judge you based on your first seven starts. You're still learning, you're still growing, you're still developing, you're still becoming. And so just because God gave you an assignment, it may not be going perfectly right now. You may not have all the answers right now. There may be some friction, there may be some resistance right now. Don't let people knock you off your square. One of the things I love the most about Shedeur Sanders is, with all of the controversy going on, with all of the things people are saying in his own city. I'm not talking about somewhere else. I'm talking about where he has to play with all the media. Uh, Now I feel like he's the people's champ, right? I feel like I feel like the fans want to see him, but the media, man, has it's almost as if they've gotten together and said, "Yo, we got to destroy this kid." Because they're not even willing to give him a shot. Like they're not even willing to say, "Hey, let's see what he has." Like this season is a throwaway anyway. They all so thirsty over Arch Manning next year. So what harm is it to say, "Yo, let's see what he has"? But they're so against this kid that they're willing to start Deshaun Watson. It's crazy. It's when I tell you it's crazy. They were willing to bring a kid who's been accused of gambling out of college to replace Shedeur. It's gross. When I tell you it's disgusting, it's disgusting. Versus just saying, "Yo, we drafted this kid. He obviously is much better than a fifth round talent. Let's see what he can do. And if he stinks it up for the whole year, look, now you're at the top of the draft next year. You can get Arch Manning. But what if?" And so I want to encourage y'all with that, man, because I love how Shedeur stays poised. He stayed like every time I see him in an interview, he's laughing, he's smiling. He's not letting these people knock him off his square. Don't you let people knock you off your square. Whatever God told you to do, man, you stick to that thing. You stick to that thing. Everybody may not see it. There's going to be people that's going to try to listen. I always tell people this. If there's no resistance, chances are what you're doing is not worth anything. Like if the devil's not trying to stop you, chances are you're not a threat. The devil's not going to try to stop things that work for him. And so I just want to encourage y'all with that, man. I was thinking about that. I was like, yo, when you look at how this kid is just staying motivated, he's staying in it, he's staying keeping, and I believe he's a believer. He's just staying even kill. He's staying in a place where he's not allowing like all the naysayers and things to kind of throw him off. Um, I was just like, man, especially with myself, having just started a church, um, it can be easy, when things don't go the way you want it, to say, man, did I hear God? Or like, man, is this what I should be doing? But then I look at Shedeur Sanders, I'm like, man, look at the resistance. I think about that. The Bible tells us to be steadfast, unmoved, right? Abounding in the work of the Lord. And it just reminds me that, man, if you're doing something worth anything, there's going to be resistance. If you're doing something that threatens the devil's kingdom, there's going to be resistance. And so, yeah, man, hopefully that encouraged y'all in some way. Peace.